Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and once again, I'm excited about having you join me on the show tonight. As you know, as a business owner, there's so many things you need to know to be successful that you can't possibly know them all, but you have to continually learn. Also, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So it's critical to continually develop your leadership skills so you can move your business further, faster. So that's why we created this show, to help build your business knowledge as well as develop your leadership skills and capabilities. And each week we bring on a great guest where, they have experience and knowledge about small business space, because it's important to have that perspective. But not only that, they've had success and they're leaders in their own rights. So they can teach you about business, but also they can demonstrate leadership. So hopefully, once again, you'll have a chance to get some great things from our guest tonight. Definitely excited about the topic. It's called Build to Sell, even if you never sell it. So our guest tonight is Muriel Touati. I'm messing. Muriel, you're going to have to help me with this. So let me bring you on. Hey, Muriel.
Hi.
About that, but welcome to the show. And how do we say your last name again?
Touati.
Touati.
I was speaking to a new AI and I was saying my name. It was reading like 20. So you can think 20. That's okay. It's just a different pronunciation, but close to that.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your understanding, and really excited about having you on the show tonight and have a chance to chat with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. That's like my first live in English. I've done so many in French, but the first one in English.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, it's the first time. This will make this a good time. So definitely want to say good evening to everybody here. Welcome to the audience. Thanks for joining in. And as always, we love your comments. We love your questions. And let's get started. So, Muriel, we know each other on a certain level, but the audience doesn't know you at all. So it would be great if you could take a couple minutes to talk a little bit about your journey, sort of a little bit about who you are and how you got to where you are.
Sure. So before I was in the corporate world, I had a corporate job. In 2017, I decided to quit and become an entrepreneur. The reason, if I take it on my personal level, is I had, my child, and I felt I was a different person, and I just wanted to do something else then. So I started working as a freelancer, then a consultant, all the time in digital marketing and digital communication. At that time, after the first struggle at the beginning, I managed to, become successful by using LinkedIn mainly. Um, but at some point, I had like too many, it was taking too much of my time. I was too much like dependent. The business was too dependent on me. And so I created during COVID time a program, the LinkedIn Accelerator. So I was able to free up my time and delegate the work to my clients. So they were doing it themselves. And then I moved to New York from France in 2021. I continued that program for many years and it still exists. It's in French. Um, but last year in 2025, I was networking, meeting with people, and I was thinking, oh, but I have nothing to offer. Uh, when I'm networking with people, I have nothing to offer them. So maybe I should, either create a new business, or I heard I could just buy a business. So this is what I've been exploring in 2025. I've learned all about M&A, like merger and acquisitions for small business, uh, deal structuring, deal financing. I went all in. I joined a business buying community. I learned a lot. I've been evaluating, I think, more than 100 deals. I submitted about 10, 12 letter of intent, like I was making an offer to buy the business. I got, I had the approval from national bank to grant me a loan up to $5 million. So I was really feeling comfortable. I can just make cool offer, like, and got one accepted for $3.7 million. That was like a lot of money, big loan that I would take on, but I was feeling confident. I say, why not? Like, I can do it. Let's go. And I got my offer accepted. And I started the process. I did my due diligence. This is what you do when you get your offer accepted. And, everything that was presented to me, ultimately, uh, I, I I don't know how to explain this fully, but it was not what I thought that I would be buying was not what I was finding in due diligence. And at some point, I was frustrated because I had and in December, when I was evaluated, it was still 35 clients, but they were saying they had a 30% growth, which was, so I had to find out what's going on. And so I asked, okay, please send me the customer list. I want to see the revenue, everything by client. And then I discover a big like logo churn there. They were basically bringing on new clients but losing all the clients after the 3 month contract, and this was too much of a red flag. I walk away, and I found, and when I was doing my evaluation, instead of valuing the company 3.7 million, I was valuating it more like 600. So I walk away. And where I am now is that I felt more confident actually to create a business, to pivot mine into Exit 3D Studio, not to help company just like generate lead, but actually to prepare them for a future exit, no matter it happens or not. Because when you build your business like you will be selling it. That means you have a business that runs without you. Then you have a better business to keep for yourself. And then you have a better business to
Sure. Not sure what happened there,
I
but
don't know, but I finished my story. I felt I was
right,
taking so much time, so I
right.
stopped.
No, it's fine. It's actually a great lead in because I think that our topic tonight, build to sell, even if you don't want to sell it. Like
Yes.
Muriel, I started my business looking to buy a business.
Yeah,
I
you
spent
told me
2
that.
years working on that as well, and I've run into similar situations. So it's not uncommon for what something looks like it's worth to not really be worth that at all. So so the good thing is tonight we're talking about building a business to sell, but we're talking about it from the standpoint of someone who would buy it. So what is a real buyer going to look like, and what do they care about? But not only that, if you build a business that's sellable, it's a much more fun business to own.
Yeah.
So either way, that should be your goal. And that's really what we're going to focus on tonight, how to do that and what that looks like and what's important to being able to accomplish that. So really looking forward to digging into that. But before we get started, we do Leadership Live at 8:05. It's one of our brain trust initiatives out of Small Business Pro University. So I've got a short video that will tell you a little bit more about Small Business Pro University and really how we help entrepreneurs and business owners be able to learn, profit, and grow. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1 million and 8 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services. All right. Welcome back to Leadership Live. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier. I'm here with Muriel, and we're talking small business. Our topic this evening is build to sell, even if you never sell it. So, when we're talking build to sell, a lot of people say that, but what does that really mean, from your perspective?
Yes, it's just having a buyer eye on your business. Like what you have to think like a buyer. And since I have been a prospective buyer, I can tell you exactly what we are looking for. In one sentence, it will be a business that keep running when you're not there. And that means that it's not founder dependent. Um, and I can give many examples there, like if all decisions must go through you, if you know how everything's work and no one else, if all the sales are coming because of you, all this is founder dependency. And so when a buyer will be buying your business, he knows that all of that will disappear. The other things that a buyer look at are the customer concentration. Do you run your business with only a couple of large accounts, and or do you have a multitude of clients that don't count for more than 10% of your revenue? If it does, it's a risk for a buyer, and that means it's also a risk for you. Because imagine you have a client that does like 30% of your revenue. The day the client leave for a reason or another, and even more when there is a transfer to a buyer, uh, most of the time, like the client can be leaving and the revenue can drop, like 30% if it was 30% of the revenue. Or if he stays, usually it's because the founder is staying for a long time to retain that client. So those are two of the things that buyers are looking at: the founder dependency and the customer concentration. Also, the revenue predictability, even more when they get a loan. Because the lender will be calculating what we call the DSCR, which is the debt service credit ratio. And if the debt is bigger than the revenue, like it cannot, the lender cannot grant the loan, and the buyer cannot buy the business. So, meaning it needs to be enough cash flow, and but let's say the DSCR, it really matter when you're really selling. When you're just building to sell without selling, that's less important. But what you want to keep in mind is having predictable cash flow. Like how can you introduce some sort of retainer, have some sort of recurring revenue, so each month how much money is coming in your business, without you driving more sales. And the fourth thing that we're looking at is about the sales, and everything's digital. Does the website, for example, is built to bring leads? Is there traffic there? Like, can we assume that the digital presence bring client, or does everything comes from referral or word of mouth? Because those, again, don't transfer. A buyer will be buying your business and they will lose that. Or there's also a risk if all the clients come from just one source, like one referral, one channel. The day this stops, uh, especially when you transfer, then there is no more, new client coming. So these are the four common um, reasons or the four structural issues that we see the most of the time in small businesses, but not all the time, fortunately. But those are the four things to work on.
Okay. And definitely um most businesses never sell. Um most of the businesses that even go up for sale never sell. Um and even and very few of the other businesses ever sell. So, you
Yeah,
what we're
they
talking
are.
about, yeah, it's
Just sorry, I
yeah,
enter because you say something so interesting. Is the I think it's the Exit Planning Institute that quote that say 70 to 80% of businesses that go to market never sell. So we have a big part that don't go to market at all, and those that go to market, you have 10, no, 8 out of 10 that don't even sell,
right.
and mainly because of the reason I've mentioned.
So, yeah, so what we're talking about is something that affects most businesses. And most likely, if you have a business, um, these are some areas that can be helpful for you to work on. But I like how you sort of laid out some of the key things that you're looking at, in terms of what makes a business valuable and what makes a business something that somebody else would want. Um, I think that everybody loves their business, but that doesn't mean someone else will love their business. So, definitely having some perspective on what other people would be looking for in your business is key. And one of the things is just what does the buyer want? Why would they want to buy it? Sometimes I ask people, would you buy your business from yourself as it is now?
Yes.
Uh, so
So most of the time, buyers, I mean, an entrepreneur or even an employee would like to buy a business to avoid a bit of the headache of building a business with all the risk and all the time where you need to find your market fit, all of that. So when you buy a business, normally it already has clients, revenue, cash flow, processes, all of that. And so when they buy, they do what we call an asset sale. They buy all the asset of the business. They're hoping that everything is positive, that it is mainly a turnkey business where they have nothing to change. It just run the business. There is even ideally a general manager there. They don't have to become the operator. They hope that. And to be honest, is even the big guys, that buy businesses like the private equity are also looking for that. Other businesses where the revenue are very unpredictable, high customer concentration, three client, 80% of the revenue, let's say the founder is doing everything, or this never sell or sell very poorly, or you get a lot of seller note, forgivable seller notes, like if that client don't stay, oh, you don't get that amount of money. um, and all this is good to think about, because if you think about it, you build a business that will be better for you, that will give you more freedom. um, yeah.
okay, no, definitely. That's really the goal. Um, you know, and also if you think about it, the person who's buying your business most likely, has a fair amount of money, so they're not really trying to buy a job. Um,
Yes, they
and
don't want to buy a job for sure. Yeah.
so, I work with a client. he thought his business was worth over $1 million, but it couldn't run without him. So he finally ended up selling for a couple 100,000, and he had to work for the business for 3 years. So, that's not really what he wanted to do. And I'd say,
That's not a good deal at all. Yeah.
yeah, most people are selling their business. That's like the last thing they want to do. So,
Yes, I have seen, like when I was evaluating businesses, most of the time when they sell, they just want what they call a clean exit, like a
mhm,
quick transition, maybe a month or two max, and just fly to Florida or somewhere. I
right,
had that case with, it was an intercom company somewhere in New York. Will not say which one, and I was happy to have some help, evaluating, because I was so motivated by this one. It was worth $4 million. Like, say, wow, I see the opportunity. They must have deal with all the management company. It looks so great. And then when you dig a little more, I found out, oh, so there are three brothers that are the owners. So they are all doing something. It's not a one person risk, it's already a three. And then they have their three wives working there as well, but supposedly like not working, but they were getting a salary. And plus the dad, who was, I don't know, apparently doing a bit of the marketing, but so basically, the day the new buyer was coming in, not only he paid 4 million, but he losing all his management, all the people doing maybe the accounting, bookkeeping, all of that. He only get contractors and seven people leaving. That was such a terrible deal. This one, and
mhm.
yeah,
Yes, yes. So no, definitely, you got to dig deeply, because once you sign the paperwork, it's yours. And
yes,
and I think a lot of people just in general, um, you know, everything business is different than consumer. So as a consumer, you have protections against things, but in business, you don't have protections. So whatever you sign and agree to, that's what you got to make good on, regardless of how bad of a deal it was. Or you can't go back and say, well, you didn't tell me the truth or whatever. It's
but that's why, exactly why it's important to have like a good lawyer when he write for you the purchase agreement. He also do his legal due diligence, like checking if there is no no things against the business. And also he can put some clause, like if something is discovered after uh, the transaction is canceled, like, but it's important to have a good lawyer, because as you say, yeah, if you don't think about the clause, the different things, you can lose it all. It's also important to structure the deal a certain way. You might want to give the seller the amount that he wants, 4 million, but then you want to use your own terms. Like, okay, so you are seven to go. That part, I take, I don't know, maybe a 25% seller note. Like, if I cannot replace you at the same, then you don't get that money. And this is how you discount the deal, another way to mitigate your risk as well, as a buyer. Mm.
hmm hmm definitely, that's key. And your financial person is just as important, because um, you value it based on the numbers, and you need to know that the numbers are accurate. um,
Yes.
and and also, a lot of you know privately held companies, they do some creative things with their accounting. Um, so, you need somebody who can figure that out. Um,
Yeah,
and
for sure, yes. And usually they get the help of business brokers
yeah,
because they help them add some stuff to, inflate the EBITDA, and like a lot of ad backs, borderline ad backs. Some are legitimate, but some like and that's hilarious. Something is very funny because things that you will hide, you know, um, from the IRS, you will
mhm,
not say that you're going to the restaurant with your family every Sunday and put it on the company, or that you take family trip. But the at the moment the business owners sell their business, they tend to put all of that, how they were paying their wives that were not working there, or how they get all the trips, or that's that's very
yeah,
funny to see. But yeah, again, this is really when the sell happen in the business, building. It's something that you're, you know
right. No, definitely. There's a lot of creative things, and like you said, they'll say, "Oh, well, add this back," or "Oh, we did this, so it's worth more." Or it's a cash business. We brought in more cash than we said we brought in. But in my world, I'm like, well, I'm valuing it based on what's on the tax return. So, if you cheat
yes,
the IRS, then you won there, but you're going to lose on the price. Um, so, definitely if you're looking to sell, um, you know, you, you got to pay some taxes, because if you didn't make any money in your business, why would
yeah,
anyone?
for sure. Yeah, yes, you cannot you cannot sell it that way. But sometimes you have some that don't even. There was like a photography business I was evaluating. It had a great reputation. It worked with great brand 2 years ago, and before that, because for the past 2 years he had no revenue at all. It was, I don't know what happened, but it was not getting any contract. But they were still trying to sell it for $1 million, like a business that don't generate any revenue and that will not continue to generate revenue. It was just like an history of of great reference, but no, not a business anymore.
Okay.
That's
Well, that brings up a great point, because most business owners think their business is worth more than it is.
oh, for
Uh,
sure, yeah.
and obviously with that
But
one,
that's not entirely their fault. I have my theory about it.
okay.
My theory is that they usually don't even think to go to market, but they get approached by business brokers. And
Mhm.
business brokers, they get a commission on the sale. So their interest is to sell it for as much as possible, adding as much ad back as they can, doing it's their job to do it. So after they get the business owner have some expectation, after being told they could sell for so much more. But the reality is that buyer, like educated buyers and lenders, especially lenders, they will deconstruct everything, and they will look at and while add back, it's possible just to know to find out which one are legitimate to add back and which one are not. The other um, structural issues we discussed before, like the founder dependency, customer concentration, revenue predictability, and the acquisition engine, those are on your part. This is something you can do, um, before, and you should prepare for if you ever want to sell, or if you just want to have a business that run a bit without you.
Okay, cool. So now, one of the questions I think it's important to know where to start. So, you know, if someone has established their business already, where should they start making improvements initially?
Yes, that's a good question. I guess I will need to ask some question to that to find out. Like, but if, for example, the founder has all the process in his mind, the first things to do will be to start documenting what is doing. So it could be, like creating SOPs. And today it's easier to create because you can just go on, ChatGPT or others and just talk the process and it will create it for you. And with that, you can find someone that will, to delegate, someone that will do it, or just have system automations that do that task instead of you. This is a very first step for any business owners who want to reduce founder dependency. I know that during all the different phase of my journey as an entrepreneur, I have been highly founder dependent. I created at some point a business that was, more running on its own. Now I'm back to something else, and I know I am working on that every single day. Like whatever I do, I create. How can it be not dependent on me? Because it's not just for selling, because probably many of us don't want to sell and just want to keep the business, but you your time is precious, and it's and it can be draining. The business can be so draining on you sometimes. I know I am guilty of that. Like, I know it. So creating processes, writing your SOP, and delegating is a good start.
Okay. No, that's a great point. And also I would say that if you're thinking about selling, this isn't something you do in 3 months or 6 months or even a year. If you're thinking about selling, it's usually going to take you 3 to 5 years
Yes,
before your business is really ready to sell. So, it's a long-term commitment. And it's not something that happens overnight. Um,
yes,
and one of the other first things you should start with is making sure your bookkeeping is accurate and your financials are in order, because they're going to want 3 years of good financials. So yeah, but no, great question, because you need to know where you start. There's it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, but you need to know where to start biting. So definitely those are good areas to start with. So another question from the audience, are there specific industries where owners tend to overlook business value drivers the most, but also maybe talk a little bit about, you what industries are more attractive than others?
I think if I understand well this question, I want to say the service businesses in general, because when a lender or buyer, for example, is looking at manufacturer, or there is a real estate, there is machinery, there is all of that. So you can actually give a value on what you can touch, like you can see. But service business, sometimes what are you buying? It's so it's a knowledge, it's a know-how. It's so it's even more important to have all these processes in place, everything's in order, and a good acquisition engine, because today this is what you are selling. This is the asset that you can transfer. Since you cannot transfer a real estate that worth something, so I will say that the specific industry where owner tends to overlook business, the value of their business the most. At least this is how I understood the question.
Okay, no, I think that that makes a lot of sense because like you said, service businesses, there isn't that much to them and not really hard assets. And just like a restaurant, a lot of people say
Yeah.
restaurants are terrible in businesses, but a lot of people do pretty well with restaurants.
Yes, I
But
guess. Yeah, when you
yeah,
if you work in restaurant before and you know how this work, but sometimes it's a trend. I know when I was looking at businesses, I was not looking at restaurants.
right. Well, restaurants are hard to buy but if you have your own and run it well, you can make good money, but you could just have like a bad week in the restaurant and your whole business falls off.
Oh,
So, so as a buyer, you don't want to take that chance. And even as a lender, they don't want to take that chance. So, so definitely, you know, that's the case. So, and you mentioned manufacturing companies. I work with a lot of manufacturing companies, but what do you like or dislike about them?
I was not looking at manufacturing company, but I know a lot of people in the business buying community were looking at this, especially because they knew like the asset they could see, they knew what it was really worth something. Like a real estate is worth something, the machinery worth something, or like a trucking company. Also, you're buying the truck. Sometimes the service company can be a bit more you know, abstract, in terms of the asset that you're buying. Thank you
Yeah.
for the comment. I love the comment for getting so motivating me.
Yeah, no, we got a great audience. So I always
I'm
appreciate
so hot. I
everybody.
don't know if we see that, but it's I didn't put my AC for no noise, but I think I need to put it a little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
It's live, huh?
yeah. No, I mean definitely. I think when you're building a business, one of the things you look at, if you're going to be an owner that doesn't have to work in the business all the time, is leverage. How are you going to? What type of leverage are you going to have, or what are you going to do to be able to maximize your output with limited inputs? So, how are you going to actually scale? And, usually there's either financial leverage or operational leverage. Um, so, one is operations. Manufacturing allows you to do operational leverage because, one person can do more and more and more and more things. So the more you sell, the more profitable everything becomes. And as an owner, you don't have to be as involved. And then financial allows you to do that too. Uh, so let's see. Let's see what other questions. We always have some great questions. Okay. Here's another question. Good question for you. What is one weakness that acquisition buyers spot almost immediately? So what are some of the
Yes, I can tell you. Yeah, I still receive the newsletters from business brokers, so I always have a look. I think it's interesting, and because eventually I might still buy, a business as well. Um, so what I do is I check their SIM. It's their a bit like the marketing brochure of a business for sale. And I always scroll to the part where I see the customer concentration. If I see something like 30-40%, I don't even look further. I don't even need to see the numbers. This is scaring me too much. Like it's the first things that I look at. If it's not too much, then I look a bit at the founder dependency and is there someone else or not managing the sales, for example, or is it always the founder? If I see from that document that the founder might be doing everything, doing the going on events and stuff like that to get clients, I say, okay, I'm not interested because I will be the one doing that after. So it's buying a job. Like, what's the point? Um, and yeah, so those are, I would say, the two things that we can spot on even before opening the financial, even before entering the data room and seeing the financial, is looking at the SIM and checking the customer concentration from the dependency and yeah.
So, no, I mean that's a great point. I mean, one of the things when I do some training on financing is I do what I call the trading places exercise, where I give them scenarios of people who are looking for financing and ask them if they would lend or invest their own money in that business. And usually they like tear people to shreds. They're like, well, they don't have a business plan or they don't have this. And then I'm like, well, turn that around on you. And it's can be very eye-opening because you think of your business one way, but understanding how other people would look at it and how you would even look at it if you were buying somebody's, or you were investing in another business is key. So so definitely taking that into account and understanding that. So now um you have uh been going through this process. You've been learning a lot. Talk a little bit about you know what were good sources of learning and understanding about how to successfully buy business.
So it's not so much about buying a business. Like I don't feel I am like legitimate to help buying businesses, but I feel that a good resource to build a business, a better business that is stronger. So if you ever get an offer, you can, actually, or if you ever want to go to market, you will get the amount that you want. My resource is right there, is my new book. So it has a line because it's I'm still reviewing, but in this book, the valuation gap, I have there is a lot of good questions that you can ask yourself to evaluate yourself and know what you should be fixing first. And it explains how to solve those different um, structural issues, because usually those are structural issues. Um, and actually, I see that the link has been shared at the moment. It's because it's launching only on July 27. I don't just offer you like the free chapter. I offer you the entire book with the link because I need early readers from for the book to give me like honest feedback and give me a honest review on Amazon on July 28th. So if you are interested in, I just read you just to tell you what it is. It's a step-by-step guide to evaluating your business the way a buyer would, so you can fix what's capping your growth and build one worth keeping or selling. And it's pretty cool. Like I'm happy about what I've been able to put in there, because that experience trying to buy a business taught me so much, way more than years of entrepreneurship alone. Um, because it was like another view, another perspective on businesses, being on the other side. So interesting. And this is what I'm sharing in the book, so you can see your business with a different light, and just see it differently, and see how you can unlock more growth for your business.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely, shifting your perspective is
Yes.
critical. And, sometimes you need some help. So definitely appreciate you making that available to people, and making your whole book available to people.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just because I know we are about 6 weeks before launch, and this is live. I don't usually do it on other interviews because I don't always know when it will be published. But this time I'm happy to share the link. Like, it's super exclusive for today. For the
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for
Thank
for
you.
your willingness to do that. I think that you know there's a lot of things it takes to run your business professionally, and be able to build a business that's sellable. And but just being able to build a great business. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it's about, is building. Your business is there to make your life better, not your life is there to make your business better. So if figuring out the what you want your business to be, so that it can help you have the life that you want to have.
Yes.
So, but a big piece of it is planning. Um, you know, how important is planning, and how do you plan for what you're trying to do? Because generally, if you don't plan for stuff, it doesn't happen.
Yes, I would say when you talked before about the 3 years, 3 to 5 years before an exit, if you ever want to sell, yes, it's important to plan 3 years before, because buyers will look at your past 3 years of financial plus what they call the trailing 12 months, like the past 12 years, 12 the past 12 months. um, and so this is important to prepare them, but there are different phases. When I work with my client, there's, like the growth phase. We'll put the foundation, having like a system that run on its own. Then we'll work more on the scaling if we want. And this come even before an exit. This is how you want your business to go. We add more channel, acquisition channel, and then the exit ready program that I have really prepare the business for future digital due diligence. Because if you're thinking about selling your business, know that the buyer will check everything. I know this is what I did. Even I was doing my digital due diligence, seeing is the website bringing traffic. I was able to see everything. And if you prepare for it, you just gain so much more money for your business. You get a good one time, another point in the EBITDA multiple. let's say instead of getting a 2, you get easily a 3 for that. And if you have a revenue predictability, retainer, and you get another point, and no founder dependency, you get another point. It's pretty easy to see how the multiple go. And one business that I was really interested in buying was an agency who had understood everything. And when I talked with the seller, he had some, financial difficulty before, and he said, I built that business to sell it. And it built it so well that it got multiple offer, even from private equity, and it got a lot of money for it because they paid like all cash, and more like even my good offer didn't compete. But he had a CEO. So he was not the CEO. He had another one. So there were no founder dependency. Client, more than 100 clients, so no customer concentration there. All client on retainer, so predictable revenue, and everything was working online. So there was a real acquisition engine, and it was not a word of mouth. So everything was transferable. Everything was turnkey for another business owner, for a buyer. It was, when I saw that, I say, wow, that is exactly what I want. And this is what I'm trying to build now as well. How I'm building my business now.
Okay, excellent. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the only bad thing about this show is it's only an hour, and there's never enough time to really cover everything that we'd like to cover. But at least we can cover, a fair amount of good things. I mean, I think Muriel, you shared a lot of valuable insights and knowledge. But before we close out, it'd be great if you could share 3 key takeaways that people should have from our discussion tonight, so that they can focus on them tomorrow and going forward to help them be more successful with their business. So I'm going to play a short video, and then we'll come back. And if you can share your 3 key takeaways.
Okay, so this is the moment I jot down my thinking, and you tell me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is, and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations, and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks, and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. It's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbproutyou.com/99-tips. Okay, welcome back. I'm here with Muriel, talking small business. We had a great conversation about how to build your business to sell, even if you don't want to sell it. So, Muriel, what are the 3 key takeaways that people should draw from our discussion tonight and can utilize in their business starting tomorrow?
Yes, so I'm 3 takeaway. Like the first one could be to create those SOPs that I mentioned so you can delegate some task or automate it. That's one. The second one will be try to introduce some retainer. Even if you have a project-based business, there are ways to introduce some revenue predictability for your business. And the third one, build a digital presence for your business to generate inbound leads, because if you depend only on referral, it's a bit of a weakness, because if it's good and it's good to have, but it's more like a bonus. It can stop at any time. It won't transfer. So these are my 3 takeaways. And of course, you can also get my book to go a bit deeper into this advice. It's free right now. It's, like as an early reader, you get it for free.
Okay, excellent. So, so 3 key things. First, instituting processes and procedures, setting it up so that other people can successfully deliver your products and services, and it doesn't have to be you. Basically
Yes.
working on your recurring revenue, so that through retainers or whatever other subscriptions or contracts or whatever, but strengthening your revenue pipeline is key. And then your digital presence. I mean, everything is digital now, and you have to have a sales and marketing engine, and it can't be dependent on just 1 or 2 salespeople.
Or even coming from the external, like when you go and you get like a referral or word of mouth. This is
Mhm.
it's a bonus, but it's you cannot depend on that only. It comes and it goes.
Yep, definitely. So, no, this is great. Muriel, I mean, definitely appreciate you being on the show tonight, sharing your knowledge and expertise. And before we close out, anything you want to share?
Yes, I'd love to, invite you to connect on LinkedIn. This is where I am the most present. You can find me at Muriel Touati, linkedin.com, Muriel Touati. You can send me a connection request. I've also created a new YouTube channel just for Exit 3D Studio. It's called Exit 3D Insight. Would love to have you join the journey. Plus, you will, I'll share some insights from the buyer perspective. And as mentioned, you can also get a copy of my book as an early readers, The Valuation Gap, what buyers see that sellers miss, and it helps you, build your business in a way that is less that run without you, basically. Because this is when you transfer your business. This is you transfer your in a way that you could transfer your business.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you so much. If you can hang out for a minute, I'm just going to close out the show. Once again, hopefully you got a lot out of the conversation tonight. Definitely, I can see from the comments that, you're taking away some valuable insights, and that's really what the show is all about. So always appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your questions, and really look forward to continuing down this path. Look forward to hanging out with you every Tuesday night, and at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successful your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.